Do you remember when a trip to the local fast food joint felt like a magical event? The golden arches used to shine a little brighter back in the days of big hair and neon clothes. Let us take a trip down memory lane and look at 10 McDonald's fast food memories from the 1980s. If you were a kid in the 1980s, nothing beat the absolute thrill of opening a brightly colored Happy Meal box. One of the greatest treasures you could ever find inside was the iconic Changeables toy line. First released in 1987, these chunky plastic toys looked exactly like your favorite fast food menu items. With a few simple clicks and twists, a basic box of fries or a plastic hamburger transformed into an awesome robot or a fierce dinosaur. They were basically the fast food version of Transformers, and every kid on the playground wanted to collect the entire set. Whether you had the Happy Meal box that turned into a dinosaur or the fries that became a towering robot, these clever toys made lunchtime a total blast. Nostalgic fans still beg the company to bring them back to restaurants today. Fast food has always been about convenience, but in the 1980s, it was also incredibly friendly to your wallet. Imagine walking right up to the front counter and buying a complete breakfast for two people with just a $5 bill and actually getting change back. In the early part of the decade, a hot egg McMuffin cost just $1.15. If you wanted a side of crispy golden hash browns, you only had to hand over 45 cents. You could even grab a large coffee for less than 50 cents. A family could easily feast on fluffy hotcakes, scrambled eggs, and sweet pastries without breaking the bank. Today, ordering that same massive morning feast would cost a small fortune, making those vintage menu prices feel like a wonderful, distant dream. Long before fancy coffee shop menus took over the morning rush, the Golden Arches experimented with some truly delicious bakery treats. Between 1982 and 1984, early birds were treated to the mouth-watering caramel pecan roll. This was not your average fast food breakfast item by any stretch of the imagination. It was a soft, warm pastry completely smothered in a sticky caramel glaze and generously topped with crunchy pecans. Biting into one felt like eating a fresh treat from a local neighborhood bakery rather than a global burger chain. While the classic hotcakes and Egg McMuffins eventually won the ultimate breakfast battle, anyone who tasted the caramel pecan roll still remembers it fondly. It was the perfect sugary companion to a hot cup of black coffee, and many fans argue it was their greatest morning pastry. Most of us remember the massive success of the chicken nugget, but do you remember the strange fried onion snack that came first? The onion nuggets were a fascinating menu experiment that stuck around in various test markets until 1984. Instead of serving traditional onion rings like other drive-through joints, the restaurant chopped onions into bite-sized chunks, coated them in a savory seasoned breading, and fried them until they were perfectly crisp. They were served in a little cardboard boat and offered a crunchy, flavorful alternative to French fries. While they managed to build a dedicated following of hungry fans who loved the unique taste, they never quite caught on nationwide. Ultimately, they were pushed aside to make room for more popular items, but they remain a very cool piece of 1980s fast food history. No list of 1980s fast food memories would ever be complete without mentioning the legendary McDLT. Introduced in 1984, this unique burger was created to solve the age-old problem of hot beef making the lettuce and tomatoes soggy. The brilliant solution was a massive two-compartment styrofoam clamshell container. One side held the hot bottom bun and the freshly cooked burger patty, while the other side held the cool top bun, crisp lettuce, juicy tomato, and a slice of cheese. The catchy commercial jingle told us to keep the hot side hot and the cool side cool. You assembled the burger yourself right at your table, which made it taste incredibly fresh. Sadly, growing environmental concerns over those bulky plastic foam containers led to its permanent cancellation in 1990. Because the two-sided packaging concept was such a massive hit at the time, the company decided to try the exact same trick with poultry. From 1986 to 1988, health-conscious diners could order the short-lived Chicken LT sandwich. As Americans started looking for lighter lunch options, this grilled chicken breast sandwich seemed like the perfect addition to the growing menu. Just like its famous beef cousin, it came in a bulky, double-sided foam container to keep the hot grilled chicken completely separate from the cool lettuce and tomato. Despite the brilliant presentation and the major push for healthier fast food, it just could not compete with the sheer popularity of the traditional burgers. It quietly vanished from the menu before the decade ended, but it definitely paved the way for modern chicken sandwiches. If you visited the restaurant in the early 1980s, you might remember an ambitious menu item that tried to feel like a fancy steakhouse dinner. The chopped beefsteak sandwich was introduced in the late 1970s and hung around until 1982. Instead of a traditional round hamburger bun, this hefty meal was served on a long, bakery-style roll. It featured a seasoned chopped beef patty completely smothered in savory onions and a rich, tangy steak sauce. The main goal was to offer hungry customers a more premium dining experience that went far beyond the standard cheeseburger and fries. It was a bold and delicious experiment that proved the company was not afraid to take big risks with its food. Those who got to try it still rave about its incredibly unique flavor today. As the neon decade was finally coming to a close, the Golden Arches blessed us with a completely different kind of cheeseburger. The Cheddar Melt arrived in 1988 as a special, limited-time offering, and it absolutely blew people away. This was not just a regular beef patty with a boring slice of processed American cheese. Instead, the beef was placed on a toasted rye bun and completely buried under sweet grilled onions and a gooey, rich cheddar cheese sauce. The combination of the savory rye bread and the creamy cheese sauce made it taste like an expensive diner melt. It was incredibly messy to eat, but every single bite was pure perfection. The Cheddar Melt developed such a fiercely loyal fan base that the company brought it back for brief promotions later on. Ask anyone who grew up eating fast food in the 20th century, and they will tell you that the French fries simply tasted better back then. They are not just imagining things, because the cooking recipe was entirely different in the 1980s. For decades, the restaurant fried their world-famous potatoes in an oil blend that contained 93% beef tallow. This special cooking method gave the fries a rich, savory, and almost meaty flavor that was completely irresistible to customers. They were perfectly crispy on the outside and wonderfully fluffy on the inside. However, in 1990, the company caved to public pressure regarding saturated fats and switched to plain vegetable oil. Today's fries cannot even come close to matching the mouth-watering magic of those original beef tallow fries we all loved. It is almost impossible to imagine a fast food menu without chicken nuggets today, but before 1983, they did not even exist at the Golden Arches. When the Chicken McNuggets finally rolled out nationwide, they completely changed the way Americans ate on the go. Available in boxes of 6, 9, or 20 pieces, these crispy golden chunks of chicken were an absolute revelation. Suddenly, everyone was dipping their food into little plastic tubs of rich honey, tangy sweet and sour, spicy hot mustard, or classic barbecue sauce. They were perfectly shaped for little hands, making them an instant staple for family road trips and easy weekend dinners. The exciting launch of the McNugget was one of the most successful product releases in restaurant history, and it remains a core memory for many. Which of these retro fast food memories do you miss the absolute most from your childhood? Please comment with your answer below and subscribe to our channel for more trips down memory lane.